The Switch Lite is now out, and the big question for Vita fans is whether this can be considered the Vita 2 that we've wanted for so long. And in my opinion, it pretty much is, or at least it's as close as we're gonna get. I've been playing it with various games to get a feel for it to compare it to the Vita. I realize I'm biased, but I think the Vita is my favorite handheld of all time, from a comfort and size perspective. I found my hand would cramp a bit with the PSP, DS, Game Boy and all the previous handhelds, but the Vita felt perfect to play. The buttons and analog stick were also great. There needs to be a little resistance in the buttons to make the controls feel right, and the Vita had that. The only exception was the shoulder buttons, which felt a bit loose to me. The Vita wasn't perfect though. The lack of second shoulder buttons was a bit of a miss, and the back touch, while trying to be different, didn't add much to the games. This is what makes the Switch Lite quite compelling as a Vita successor. It takes out the superfluous bits like the back touch and camera, and instead it's got R2 and L2 and clickable analog sticks, which means you can replicate the controls of AAA games. I found the Switch Joy-Con buttons and stick felt loose. They were small and I did not enjoy using it at all. The Switch Lite rectifies this with a proper D-pad, buttons and sticks and shoulder buttons that feel good to press. I think it's on par with the Vita in terms of the buttons and the sticks. One issue I had though is with the placement of the D-pad. I do wonder if it's just me, but I found my hand cramping when I played for about an hour with the D-pad. I was playing Moonlighter and I found the angle that I had to bend my thumb was not comfortable in a long session. It may be that I'm used to the D-pad above the stick after years of PlayStation gaming, but it wasn't comfortable for extensive gaming compared to the Vita. Having said that, and aside from the D-pad, games control well with both the D-pad and the stick, and when using the analog stick for a game like Dark Souls, I found it very comfortable to play. Another big factor for a portable gaming system is portability. Yes, the Switch is a portable system, but it's not very portable. I can't fit it in my pocket. One of the reasons I wanted a Switch Lite is because it's smaller and more portable. The Vita fits in my suit or trouser pockets, and I would put it in my pocket when I go to work and pull it out as soon as I'm on the train. I don't want to carry a bigger bag just for a gaming system. The Switch Lite, while quite a bit bigger than the Vita, did still fit in my jacket pocket, which I was very happy about. In terms of look, I think the Vita beats both the Switch and the Lite. It's just sleeker and cooler looking, while the matte plastic on the Lite does look a bit toyish. I do appreciate though how it attracts less fingerprints than the Vita. The Vita does have some features that the Switch and the Lite does not. Namely, it can play movies and music, and it can connect to Bluetooth headphones. I have movies and music on my Vita, but to be honest I don't think I've ever actually watched or listened to anything. The Bluetooth connection to wireless headphones though, I do use that quite a lot. Sony put this in the Vita 8 years ago. It's a big miss to me that the Switch doesn't have this, and worse, that this wasn't corrected with the Lite. Let's face it though, the most important aspect is the games library, and the Switch has an amazing library of games. I love my Vita and I love the games. I have so many in my backlog, but being able to play Dark Souls, Dead Cells, Breath of the Wild, and soon to be able to play Overwatch is just awesome. The Switch is a more modern system, and because of that, it's got more modern games. It's also got a lot of the great indie games from the Vita. When it comes to games library, the Switch beats out the Vita to me, and the fact that it's only a few years old means that the library is just going to keep getting better and better. I've got a backlog of games on the Switch and the Vita, and it's now a much harder decision each morning for work whether to take my Vita or Switch Lite with me. And that's kind of a good thing. The Switch didn't feel right to me to play, and I ended up not playing it that much because I didn't like the feel of it and found it too big. Now with the Lite, I can see myself playing it a lot more, and I'm happy about that. I want to play Guacamelee 2 and Bloodstained, and I definitely will on the Switch Lite. So, do I recommend it for Vita fans? Yeah, I do. I know a lot of Vita fans dislike the Switch, and I've had negative comments when I've covered Switch games. But as much as I've wanted it in the past, Sony is not going to give us a Vita successor. That ship has sailed, and at this point I don't think I want Sony to make another handheld if they're going to treat it as badly as they've treated the Vita. I think the Switch Lite is the Vita successor I've been waiting for, and I'm looking forward to finally and properly digging into the Switch's library. So guys, did you buy a Switch Lite? And what do you think of it? And if you're not a fan of the Switch Lite, let me know why. Leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching.